Janelle is officially leaving Flagstaff behind and making her big move to North Carolina. With Christine and David by her side, she's stepping into a brand new chapter of her life.
Meanwhile, back in Flagstaff, Cody and Robyn are having a pretty serious conversation with Aurora about her baptism.
Yeah, they seem shocked that baptism may not mean what they think it means, and we're going to talk about how it compares to the way baptisms are usually done within Mormonism.
There is so much to break down in this episode, from Janelle finally getting her independence to Cody and Robyn navigating religion in a way that we really haven't seen before. Let's dive in. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Sam.
And I'm Melissa.
I was raised in a family with 4 moms and 35 kids. We were members of the FLDS Church, which is a polygamous group run by their prophet, Warren Jeffs, who is now serving a life sentence in prison.
I was raised mainstream LDS. Sam and I have been married for 10 years now. 5 years into our marriage, we decided to leave religion altogether, and we have 2 awesome kiddos.
Yes, we do. We want to quickly thank our donors, YouTube members, patrons on Patreon, and all of our wonderful subscribers. Thank you all so much for your support.
Yes, we're back at it with Sister Wives, episode 20. If anyone else was freaked out at the end of this episode when it said that it's like a mid-season finale, but I can't find any information online of whether or not we're getting an episode next week, please leave in the comments if you know more, because we have searched.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there will be, because they said coming back in the spring, which
implies like future.
Yeah, we didn't see that coming, but if you have information, please let us know. That'd be good information to have.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess we'll just wait till Sunday night and see if another episode or not comes out. But we are going to be back at it with episode 20, no matter where it's going from here. And this time, instead of starting with Christine, we're going to start with Mary, because there wasn't a whole lot with Mary going on this episode.
Yeah. So Mary starts with her B&B there in Parowan. I had to think about that for a minute, Parowan. And so they were celebrating the goodbye party, the retirement for the cook for her B&B there. Yeah. And it's seeming like it's going to make quite the shift in what she does with the B&B for future.
Yeah, it was interesting. She said a couple things. She was talking about the fact like it was never her dream to have a B&B. And that's so funny too, because Christine is talking about how the fact she always wanted a B&B. Like she's so excited to have like a rental property, and that was her dream. And Mary was like, that wasn't quite ever my intention. She's not sure if she wants it to actually be like the house that she lives in, but she didn't seem like that's going to be long-term what it is. Like, she's like, I don't know what's next, but she wasn't committing to wanting to just continue to do what it's been doing.
It seems like she wants to hold on to the home, obviously, for the fact that it was in her family and it's such a important part of her history. But to not have the B&B, I don't know where she stands financially right now, but that's quite the expense to hold on to if you're not making anything from it, just to have it, right?
Which is what she sounded like when she said it's not that I wanted a B&B, it just always made more sense.
To have a B&B. And it was already set up that way when she purchased it to begin with. So we will see. I'm very curious to see what she ends up doing with it. I'm sure there's information out there on the big Google and that you can find about what is going on currently, because we do know this is kind of in the past. But either way, we're excited to see where she ends up going with it.
Yeah, the next big thing that we saw too was Aurora talking about wanting to get baptized. Obviously, we knew that they had been church shopping. Aurora and Brianna were going to a specific church that they were feeling comfortable with. So Aurora coming to Cody and Robyn and saying, hey, I want to talk to you guys about me getting baptized. Now, this whole thing is very interesting, and we'll cover it a little bit now, but I hope that they do show that process where we can do more comparisons in the future.
Right.
But even just her saying she wanted to be baptized, Cody and Robyn's reaction was a perfect reaction from somebody who had been raised within Mormonism. And their first words out of their mouth were, so you're joining that church.
Right.
And she was kind of confused by the wording. She's like, well, I'm not, this isn't a sign of joining. So if anyone was wondering, like, what's up with that, we thought we would explain. Because both in the mainstream LDS church, the AUB, which is the polygamous group that the Browns are from, the FLDS, especially
the fundamentalist ones, but definitely still in the mainstream.
Yes, baptism, though it is a commitment to Jesus Christ, it is very much considered you're baptized as a member. So you become a member of the church with that baptism. So when they say joining the church, it's because within Mormonism, that's your sign of joining the church. Then your name is on the records of the church too, because your names will not be like when you're visiting the Mormon church, your names aren't on their records as a member until you are baptized.
Right.
So,
well, your name, if you bless one of your babies, like a baby's blessing within the church, I believe they do put the name on the record at that time, but not
Yes.
as an official baptized
They're
member.
not as a member, but they'll have like the names will be on the records of the church. But I believe their names fall off of the records of the church if they are not baptized
By certain age.
I should look into that. I'm not sure exactly what the age is, but I do know that once they're not baptized by a certain age, then like their records will kind of be taken back off from what I understand of the blessings. But they still, no matter what, are not considered a member of the church until they're baptized.
Yeah.
So them responding that way is exactly what I would have expected. And Aurora's reaction was a little, not shocking to me too, because I was like thinking like Kody and Robyn were like, oh yeah, so she's joining their church.
Mm-hmm. Both of their reactions, and Cody's reaction especially when he was like, wait, so you're joining that church? It was so not shocking to me because even within the mainstream and the breakoffs, the fundamentalist groups are even more strict with this kind of thing. But even with the mainstream Mormon church, it's so much you're joining this church that if you don't attend the ward or the meeting house that you're supposed to attend, that you are assigned to based on your geographical area, that if you don't attend a couple weeks in a row, you can become considered less active.
Yeah.
And
Isn't there, if you don't go at least once a month, you're considered inactive?
Then you're considered, well, I think if you're going once a month, then it's less active.
Oh, okay.
And if you're not going multiple months in a row, then you could be considered inactive.
But your attendance to church is tracked, I guess is what
Right.
you're trying to say.
Right.
Like
So-
once you're a member and you're on their records, they're keeping track of how often you go. And you'll be put on like certain lists of members of like, oh, they're inactive. So if you're inactive and you're not going to church at least once a month, then missionaries are going to go to your house and try to help you become active.
Or someone within the organization in that same area. Someone that lives in your community might come visit you, like the bishop or someone from the women's group or the elders quorum, the Relief Society, those kinds of things would come visit you to say, hey, we haven't seen you around church.
Is everything okay?
Everything okay? And it's generally a very nice visit. It's not, hey, you come to church or you're going to hell. That's not typically what you would see. But that being said, they keep a record. And so for example, when missionaries come to our house, they know we're going to visit this family that is not active in the church. And so they come with maybe a certain lesson prepared or something with the intention of hopefully helping them go back to church.
Yes. So I guess that all being said, that's why getting baptized into the LDS church or any sect of Mormonism, I think just has a different connotation than what Aurora was saying, where she was like, well, that's not the symbol of me joining. The symbolism is my commitment to God and Jesus Christ, which is the same within the Mormon church. Like that is still the same, that you do believe that you're getting baptized to be like Jesus and to, have his name and to represent him as a disciple of Jesus.
To follow.
So that part's still the same, but there is that other aspect of joining the religion where Aurora was like, no, it doesn't really have that same aspect for her, which not only were Kody and Robyn kind of shocked at that, but I think what kind of solidified that huge difference in the viewpoint was when Aurora asked Kody, would you baptize me with my pastor?
He was like, wait. Is he okay with that?
I'm allowed to do that. And the word that he used I thought was super important. He said, aren't they looking for authority?
That's what Cody said. Aren't they looking?
Cody said.
Because within Mormonism, once again, it's not just about going and getting permission or going and taking a class to learn how to do something. You have to be able to directly follow your authority, otherwise known as priesthood, back to someone that held it all the way back to Joseph Smith to make sure you have the proper authority. And so that's the only way that you can baptize someone is if you hold that. And so I think that was very key in his question. Wait a minute, he's not a part of the church. So is that okay?
Yeah, because if someone was trying to assist in a baptism, in an LDS baptism, and they were not a member, they would absolutely not be. There is no assisting in a baptism. They have to have the proper authority. They have to be worthy of their priesthood. You can't even just have had that priesthood. They would have to be an active member in good standing and be worthy of the priesthood to be able to baptize someone else. So because there is such this line of authority, the fact that Cody was like, I can help the pastor, but I'm not a member. I can help the pastor, but I don't go to that church. I'm intrigued to see. And I don't know if they're going to show her baptismal process. I mean, I can also see where that would be personal and they might not want to. But
depending on the church, we've seen
true.
some Christian churches that display the baptisms for everyone to see, and others might be more intimate. I don't know, but personally, I'll be honest, I don't know how this works.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like when Aurora said to Cody, will you assist the pastor? My first thought was, what? You like people can assist other people, even taking the authority thing way out of it. I just don't know how that works. I've never seen someone just walk up and casually assist in a baptism.
Yeah, no. And that was definitely a question I wanted to ask all of you too, because one, I was wondering if like in your churches, or depending on what baptism looks like for you, does there have to be a certain authority or does there not need to be a certain authority? And if there does have to, what does that look like? Like who gives that authority? And if they don't have to, like what does baptism symbolize for you? If you have been baptized, was it I'm now joining a religion, or was it I'm just showing commitment to Jesus Christ, but the records indicating that you're a part of the religion isn't tied to that baptism? Because that's the part I guess that I'm curious of. Like, are there churches where you could be baptized, but you're not baptized, as they kept saying, into the church? That's not how you gain your record or standing in the church, is with the baptism. So let me know in the comments, because I'm really, really curious.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I've also had people come to me and say, I was saved, and that's all that matters. Like the rest of whatever, it doesn't matter which church I attend now, doesn't matter what I do, obviously follow the laws, right? And be a good human being. But they said, I accepted Jesus Christ, so I'm saved. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
And that's something else that is just
a whole different mentality than the way we were raised.
Based on the way we were raised, because it was a lot of faith without works is dead. You have to continually work really, really hard to make sure that you remain worthy of being saved, not just accept Jesus Christ and voila, there you go. So there's so many different ways to view Christianity, I guess.
Yeah. So this has been fun to kind of see her going through this process and see where Aurora's ending up and what that looks like. So again, I hope they give more details and we can kind of hear a little bit more about the process and what it does mean to her. Because once she said, it was also interesting, the reaction of once she said, no, it's about my commitment to God and Christ, and it's not like joining the church, they also were like, oh, we like the sound of that. Like on the exterior of that is like, oh, maybe that should be the purpose of it. But that just wasn't how they were raised. And so, it's
interesting.
My brain was processing right there with Robyn and Cody's the whole time. I was like, everything that they were saying, like, that's just how it is when you were raised within Mormonism, those thoughts.
Yeah, and it seemed like it was more just of a, hey, I want to talk to you guys about this, because Aurora now is 21.
I think she was 21 when this
happened. So she's an adult, right? I mean, I think she was more just wanting to see how they felt about it. She didn't say, can I have your permission?
Yeah.
But
and then asking Cody to be a part of the baptism. That was like a big special thing for her. So it seems like he's down to do it, other than being confused that he's allowed to do it. He's down to do it.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But we'll move on now because... sorry,
that was a long rant about that one little scene. But
we are hoping that more comes out and we can dive deeper into it.
Yeah, we'll dive a little. Or leave your questions in the comment section and maybe we can address more about the differences, I guess, between the way that baptism is viewed between Mormonism and other Christian groups. That hopefully you'll shed light on for us. So we want to hear from you.
There's obviously a lot to be learned. I think everybody, just based on the way they're raised, has a certain idea of Christianity, of religion, of spirituality, all these different things. And there's just always so much more out there that we hear something and it opens up a whole new door to a different idea just because someone was raised differently. So feel free to let us know in the comments or email us and let us know what your experience is.
Yeah. The next biggest thing that happened in this episode was mainly surrounding the fact that Janelle is leaving Flagstaff. She is moving to North Carolina. She bought 150 acres with Maddie and Caleb and is excited really to just kind of start like this whole fresh chapter in her life. And it was cool to see like Christine and David obviously live in northern Utah. Northern Utah is not close to Flagstaff, by the way, at all.
No.
But the fact that they came down there and they were helping her drive all the way across the country with her stuff and start this new life. It was fun to get to kind of peek in and listen to Christine and Janelle talk about all sorts of stuff, whether it was about traveling with Cody and the uncertainty of their scheduling, or just talking about the fact that they were going to be sister wives forever.
Yeah, it says a lot about their relationship, just the simple fact that, hey, I don't feel comfortable driving this big truck, Janelle says. And Christine says, I got you. I'm bringing David. Let's go, right? And we'll come help. So just that alone and making that big drive, taking all that time out of their schedule, that says a lot about
their relationship.
So that's really nice to see. I've said it 100 times, but it's so nice that they have each other, knowing so well what the other person has been through and kind of experiencing the same thing on both sides. So it's nice that they have each other, for sure.
Yeah, they made a couple fun stops. One was at the Plots Plot, and that was kind of cool. I've never heard of it, never seen it before. I'm sure probably after this episode came out, I bet there's more people that are going to be gave it some good publicity. I want to
at least Google and find out
and see how far it is. But where you go and you put down a note of something that you're leaving behind as you're moving forward, which I thought was super cool, super symbolic. Christine putting in her dream catcher of leaving like old dreams behind and making new ones. And then Janelle actually leaving the necklace that Cody had designed for her. I was like, dang, that's a big symbol to be leaving for sure behind.
Makes a lot of sense to me as well. I think that was a good one because she is so clearly so done with Cody. And I love that they showed this clip of, she even joked about the fact that she just used Cody to get a good birthday dinner way back when for her birthday.
Like the last time they celebrated it together.
Yeah, because even then Cody admitted it felt like he was just in the friend zone at that time. Yeah. And this was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
And so it seems like Janelle is so far past Cody and there just doesn't seem to be any hope there. So leaving something like that made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, for sure. But it's weird because Cody, I think Janelle's the last one that he still seems a little angry about because I don't think he thought he'd actually lose her. Like when he was mad at Christine for a while and then he kind of went through his acceptance phase of like, okay, yeah, but like it wasn't good, so I can understand. And then Mary, he'd given up on her so long before. He was like, well, it's about time you finally realize and get out of here. But I think Janelle, he even mentioned for a while, he was like, yeah, I really still thought that like her and I could figure it out, even though he wasn't working on it or putting forth any effort, according to Janelle. So she's just like, you're crazy for thinking that this was working. But him and her always seemed to have such a good friendship.
Right.
That I think he was surprised at them like stopping being friends. Seems to still, I think she's the only one that he still is like, I don't know what exactly happened, but now she's angry and he'll like take more digs at her than anybody else, I feel like, because he's still angry about it.
Do you think, this was not planned to talk about, but do you think that if Christine was out of the picture, Janelle and Cody would still have some kind of friendship, but because Christine left the way she did, Janelle felt that she had to choose a side, and for that reason, her and Cody left that friendship and went separate ways and have kind of become enemies, if you want to say that?
Yeah, like being able to go and have Christine as like some kind of support. I think, that's a really good question. I don't know if I've thought about before, but I do think that she was already, during COVID, it was very much her and Christine versus Cody, Mary, and Robyn. And so I think that alliance had already formed ahead of time. And I think a lot of the reasons that Christine left, Christine and Janelle are so different. Even on the road trip, Christine's like, I was needy. Like, I need somebody who's going to give me attention and this and that. And Janelle was like, I didn't really need that.
Right.
Like, he kind of just like bugged me if he was too much in my space. So I don't think that they left for anything near the same reasons at all. But I think that COVID with her kids, she felt like she was like picking her kids over Cody.
Oh, yes.
And then Cody just let it die. And so Janelle more of just is like, I never really needed you because I'm independent, and she always had that mentality. But it went from I don't need you, so I'm okay with whatever, to I no longer want you around
He just
because you make my
became
life
annoying
yeah
to her.
yeah. And so I don't know if having Christine separate actually would have made a difference.
You're right. COVID did have a big part to play in it, for sure, because there was this whole thing with Janelle's kids, Cody and Janelle's kids, and them not wanting to follow the rules, and then Cody basically just being a complete you-know-what to his kids because
Yeah.
of that. And so it's Cody and Robyn against everyone else.
Yeah, and I think if it wasn't for Cody's pride, because even during like the COVID when they were still, like Janelle got COVID and was like, Cody, don't come over. I don't want you to get this. Like Janelle seemed to even be the most understanding of these huge long gaps and spaces of time without him. And she never needed him to be around all the time. That wasn't even one of her like love languages.
No.
Wasn't him being around all the time. So I don't think it would have taken that much effort for him to maintain that relationship if it wasn't for his ego in being right about the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
And the way he was treating her kids through COVID, as far as like physically being around or him being more at Robyn's, I don't even know if that would have been a deal breaker for Janelle. I think it was the treatment. And then finally when she realized, I'm just as happy without him and him not coming and bugging me however often or randomly or whatever.
She has mentioned that how okay she was without him when he stopped coming around during COVID and realized, you know what, I don't need this guy in my life.
Yeah.
And then on top of all of that, she saw the way he was treating her kids.
Yep.
And she mentioned as well, I chose my kids. That's what I did. And yes, so I can see if you see him treating your kids a certain way when your kids are your everything, then that would quickly make this person less attractive if they are being mean to your own kids.
Yeah, and she already had so little of him that she's like, okay, well, I don't really need you in the first place, but now I don't want to deal with you anymore. Which is why she said when she was like, I'm moving, and I didn't tell Cody because he doesn't need to know because we're not a thing anymore. I have no reason to tell him, and that seems silly that I would call in and like announce that because she's not a dramatic person. She's like, we're done, so then I can just logically, I'm going to move forward without telling. And Cody found out through one of the kids that she was moving.
Accidentally found out.
And the kid said, hey, don't tell her that I told you. And he seemed a little... like he gets it because it's over, but he seemed a little frustrated.
He
just
seemed
like
hurt that she didn't say anything. And I wonder if maybe he still held on to a small piece of hope that there was some way they could be friends and move past this.
But he told Robyn that there was no chance when Robyn was crying about it.
You're right. But he did hold on to the chance, or it seemed like he was pretending to hold on to this hope that they would get back together. But it seems like even in more recent times, he was hoping that they could remain friends.
Yeah, definitely. It seems, like I said, the Janelle one, he definitely doesn't seem over the loss of Janelle yet. I think this move will solidify it for him, even though he already told Robyn there wasn't a chance. He acts like it was all Janelle's doing. Like she was angry and like kicked him out when he wasn't around to be kicked out.
Right.
But I think it definitely will seal the deal that she moved. She didn't even tell him. She's going on. She's starting to start a new life. But this does lead us to our official question. I know we've asked you guys so many questions this episode, so I really do apologize. They kept coming up. I want to know everyone's opinions. But our question of the week is, do you think Janelle was in the right or in the wrong by not telling Cody? Since they do still have children together, they are always going to be tied by the fact that they have children together. Was it okay for her to just move across the country and be gone and never tell him?
Yeah. That's it. I mean, honestly, that was my first thought when watching this is like, wait a minute. My first thought was, take that, Cody. You didn't even get to hear that she was, that was my first thought. But my second thought was, was she in the right? They're separated, technically. They were never legally married, and they're still technically...
They don't have their religious release yet either.
They don't have their religious release, so they're still technically married according to their church that they used to believe in. It's complicated. The whole thing is complicated. But I don't know if maybe there should have been a text, hey, I'm leaving, just so you know. I guess the fact that the kids are staying in Flagstaff.
Yeah, 3 of them are.
Maybe that's another reason she didn't feel a need to tell him, because she's not taking the kids across the country.
Yeah.
Whether or not he's going to spend any time with them or not, I don't know. But they're all adults now, and so she's just going to be with her grandkids, as you pointed out, which
Yeah.
I agree. That's probably the main reason.
Yeah, so we'll see. Excited for Janelle to move on, start her new life in North Carolina, which is going to be super cool. And yeah, let us know what you think in the comments of whether or not she was okay doing that, or if you think she should have given Cody a heads up.
Yep. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us again. We look forward to talking with you soon.
Talk to y'all soon.